What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Bet Online. This is the first opening night in which the Blazers have won since we started this channel, Eric. We were 0-3 before this, but the Blazers battle in Sacramento, it was a phenomenally played game from both ends. Both teams played like this was a playoff game, and the Blazers go on the road after a dismal preseason, and they take care of business. And now I feel like everybody's feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. Eric, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm just happy they got the win. It was a pretty intense game, it felt like, for game one between the Kings and the Blazers. Almost had like a playoff type atmosphere with these two teams, thinking they're both should be thought of higher than they are. And I'm just glad the Blazers found a way to get it done at the end. And yeah, pretty exciting game, especially since we won.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We will have the full in-depth breakdown on what went down in Sacramento tonight. But first, yes, we have a sponsor. You're probably going to see more sponsorship this year. It'll allow us to do more for you guys. So thank you to Bet Online, who's the sponsor of this post-game show. The NBA is back, and you can get in on the action with betonline.ag. You'll find the latest odds, matchup info, player news, and game trends. And as your continued source for all sports wagering info, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, live scores, and giveaways all season long. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 100% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. It's always fun to kick off the season with a new graphics package. Hopefully you guys like what I got for you today. We have a live sports ticker that when games start late, as we're over here on the West Coast, it'll be a bunch of final scores, but those will actually update live when there's still games going on, which will be awesome. I'm really happy with what we got for you guys this season, and we're going to continue to try and improve the product. I still have some things that I want to roll out in the next few days, but today we get to focus on an opening night stream, man, where the Blazers took care of business, Eric. And oh my goodness, man, that was a fun game. I wouldn't have been that mad if we lost, man. That was a competitive game, hard played. All the defensive effort issues were out the window in this game. They played hard on both sides of the court. And you had multiple guys making big plays. You had Shaedon Sharpe making his debut and looking good. We have so much fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, obviously some methods for improvement as well. But before we get into it, I just want to say welcome to everyone who's tuning in. Whether this is your first time or your 100th time, we welcome everybody to the community and hope you guys enjoy and are with us for the season. It's going to be a fun one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Before we get into things, thank you guys for all the support. We got a few donos to read off. Shout out Jackson Burgess, $10 Australian dono. He says, never yelled and won so loud in my life when Grant finished that layup until Hart did it again the next possession. Eric, the Blazers win this game by their two starting forwards making plays off the dribble in clutch time. When have we ever been able to say that?
Yeah, especially forwards. Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's why I'm excited about this year's team. You got multiple guys that can make plays. Hart was phenomenal tonight. Yeah. Grant had a lot of good moments, and they picked up for Dame, who struggled, but the Blazers still won.
Yeah, I think that's something that they could actually exploit more is when Dame and Ant are getting hounded like they were tonight by their pressure, just giving it to Hart and Grant and letting them take over. Because Grant could have scored on Herter all day, and then he had that nice drive on Barnes at the end. So. And then we know Hart's one of the best finishers in the league. So let those guys penetrate and create the offense when the other guys, Ant and Dame, are being taken out of it.
Yep, absolutely. Before we thank the next dono, we'll get through these and then really break down the game. Shout out to Krish, who's on graphics tonight. And shout out to Nick, who helped me with the bottom ticker. He's a coder. We got a lot of cool people in this community that are talented at specific things that really help to put this all together. It's not just me, it's not just Eric, it's all of you guys in the chat, all of you guys that watch us consistently, and it's Chris on graphics. We got Nick with the bottom ticker. I'm also having help from somebody else to make things a little bit better for post-game shows. So shout out to Zadian in chat if you're watching. Anyway, next dono. Yep, thank you all. Next dono. James Bruner, $2 dono says, been a minute, love you guys. Thank you, James. Good to see you, man. Thank you for the dono. Appreciate it. It's exciting to talk about meaningful games that the Blazers are winning once again. All right. Greg Barton, member for 22 months. You can become a channel member by clicking the join button below. You get a member message every month. Shout out to Greg, who says, Blazers dub, let's go, 1-0. Great start with 5 of the next 6 games at home. Shout out to Chris Branlin, member for 9 months, says great way to start the season. Shout out to Colonel Pancakes, who has become an all-star member. Shout out to Carson Dunn, member for 6 months, says great first win, 1-0, baby. Graphics are fire. Love y'all. Appreciate you, Carson, man. Thank you for being a channel member, and I'm glad you're liking the graphics.
Thanks, guys.
Shout out to Connor, $20 dono, our mod Connor. Shout out to all our mods this year who do a good job policing chat. Shout out to Connor, $20 dono, says, we got some dogs on this team, and we haven't even seen Gary Payton II yet. Dude, De'Aaron Fox went off tonight. The Blazers defensively didn't have a bad game, though. We'll go in on why De'Aaron Fox went off tonight, and we'll talk about Gary Payton II, because I would have loved to have Gary Payton II to throw up against De'Aaron Fox tonight. I think it would have been probably a lot more comfortable for the Blazers. So the fact they still won with Fox having a great game like he did without GP2, it's promising for the future. Absolutely. Thank you, Connor.
I saw Dono coming up. I want to respond to that, but not until you read that, Dono. So I'll wait till.
Okay. We got a lot. You guys are super supportive. We read off all donos no matter what. So thank you to everybody for being so supportive. We appreciate you guys. Shout out Great Hughes Investigates. $10 dono says, Nurk and Dame sucked. Eubanks, Hart, and Winslow and Grant won that one. Shout out to Sharpe. Boom. Great hustle. Yeah, as is the case with every game, you're going to have players that struggle and players that play well. It just always feels a little bit more magnified when it's the first game of the year. All right, but I'm not worried about Nurk and Dame. But the fact that the Blazers took care of this one without their best defensive player and with Nurkic and Dame struggling is a good thing. Thing. Shout out to Ben Grabowski, who's a channel member and has a $5 dono with the hype sticker GIF thing. I don't know what to call that thing. It's a hippo, I think. Shout out to Colonel Pancakes, $20 dono, says this scrappy defense without GP2 is insanely shocking. Dame clearly now has a team, and Shaedon is NBA ready and a possible superstar. Great vibes. Absolutely. Thank you, Colonel Pancakes. Yeah, the vibes have completely changed from preseason. Right? And who is telling you not to overreact to preseason? We're going to be okay. Shout out Near Zero, who is now a superstar level member. That's top level, Near Zero. Thank you, man. Shout out to Oscar, $2 dono, says, I think Sharpe played the best De'Aaron Fox tonight. We're going to talk about Sharpe's defense.
And that's what I wanted to say is Sharpe got moved on to him a couple times when Grant wasn't in the game, and I thought he did a great job of staying in front of him. And one time Nurk came and helped when he didn't have to, I didn't think, and it led to an open lay-in. But I thought both times Sharpe got isolated, he did a really good job.
Yep. Shout out to Monopoman with a $5 dono. Says, my man Sharpe needs more minutes. Yeah, Sharpe tonight. How many minutes did he play? Do you know off the top of your head? 16 minutes? I think he made the case for more, dude. My goodness. Yeah. I can't. Dude, I already want to talk about him, man. I am loving what I'm seeing out of Shaedon Sharpe. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Max Buckley, member for 21 months. Says, Hart's aggression in transition is crazy. LMAO. A lot of people didn't want him to start. Having a guy that can do stuff off the dribble the way he can is a positive for when teams are defending Ant and Dame like the way the Kings did tonight. To be able to have that outlet, not only a Jeremy Grant, but also a Josh Hart on the floor to make teams pay is going to be a good thing on the offensive end. So shout out to Max. Shout out to Caleb Pendergraph. Let me know if I skip one, by the way. Shout out to Caleb Pendergraph, $2 dono, says Sharpe was looking real sharp tonight. Shout out Cameron Weaver, $2 dono, says Josh was not hesitant tonight. Josh didn't really try and score in preseason.
You were worried about that in preseason. Speaking of not worrying about stuff, right?
Yeah. I was a little bit worried, but I figured it was just preseason. I'm glad to see aggressive Josh Hart back because he was phenomenal in a Blazer uniform last year, and he kind of carried that over into this game. Shout out Cole Ray. What's up, Cole? One of the Coles with the $2 donut says, glad to be back for game 1, boys. Welcome back, Cole. Shout out Daxton, member for 4 months, says 82-0. Let's go, Rip City, baby. Shout out play-by-play.
You can't be 82-0 if you don't win the first one, right?
Yeah, I'm almost caught up on donos, man. My voice is already worried now. I should have had you read some of these. Shout out play-by-play. $10 dono says, was great seeing the other guys take over when Dame wasn't playing well. Definitely could have used Gary Payton II tonight. So happy to see Sharpe in the rotation. Great way to start the year. Graphics are also fire. Thank you, Chase, aka play-by-play, for that dono. Appreciate it, man. Shout out Isaac Thomas, $10 dono says, Tori, DM me. We need to work something out. Ready to fix this. Isaac, yeah, I'll DM you, man. Thank you for the $10 dono. Shout out David Yu, member for 11 months, says, so good to have forwards make plays on both ends. Thank you, David Yu. Shout out Oscar, a $5 dono, says, rarely catch the live shows and watch at work in the mornings, but got to get in here on opening night and dono before I have to go to bed. Thank you for catching us live, Oscar.
Thanks, Oscar.
Shout out to Zach, who's one of our mods. He's been doing timestamps for preseason streams. It should be a little bit easier to pick and choose which part of streams you want to watch, like the morning after. Zach's like labels for timestamps are funny to read too, and that will help me make stream highlights. So I'm gonna do weekly stream highlights this year and try and make it so that it's a little easier to watch parts of streams or the best clips or whatnot, because we usually stream 2 hours a game for post-game shows. Thank you, Oscar, for the dono. Shout out James Bruner, $5 dono, says Winslow on the effort plays. Yeah, Winslow had some big defensive stops late there in that game. Thank you, James, for the $5 dono. And then Mike.
Wait. Okay, I was going to say, take a space before you say his last name.
I'm not saying his last name, man. Shout out to, because I don't think that's really his last name. If it's really his last name, that's unfortunate.
If you said it fast, it would say my something, and I don't think
we're not. Shout out to Mike with the $20 dono, says, glad to see Mike L. Yeah, shout out Mike L with the $20 dono, says, glad to see the Blazers score more points than the opposing team. Yeah, it's always good to score more points than the opposing team. Thank you all for showing support for the channel. We greatly appreciate y'all. Thank you for the donations and for being channel members. All right, Eric, I'm caught up. I can breathe now. Now just talk, man. I don't take this wherever you want. We're gonna break down the game. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with Justice Winslow, I guess, because that's obviously been something we've talked about. 1 for 3. Can't judge anything by that. Having a 3 rim in. But I thought he was the difference in the fourth quarter, but on both ends. He made several plays around the basket on offense, finished well, got an offensive rebound putback, was available to accept passes off of drives from other players, and finished well. And then on defense, I thought he did a great job of keeping Sabonis away from the hoop and just staying in front of him, and then also helping off of him and recovering back to him whenever he needed to. So just a great all-around performance, made a bunch of plays tonight that I don't think we win if it wasn't for that performance.
Yep, absolutely. And it's just nice having guys, I've talked about Justice Winslow's struggle shooting the ball. He made a 3 today, though. The rim didn't want to let it go in, but he made a 3 today. So
or didn't want to let him go in. The gods wanted it to go in.
Yeah. So, he made a 3 today. I've talked about his struggle shooting the ball, but it's nice having guys on this team that play hard and play defense and give a good effort and can pass the ball, all right? Because that's something that's been a struggle. The Blazers have had guys that can score but don't really play make, don't really defend. Like Norman Powell. Rodney Hood I loved, but he was a scorer. He wasn't really a guy making plays for others or defending at a super high level. Zach Collins could play defense, but he wasn't going to handle the ball or pass at the power forward position back when he started. Same thing with Melo for the most part. So it's nice having guys on this team that fit Chauncey Billups, his style of play, the style of play that he wants to play with. And people were worried about preseason because we weren't really seeing that style of play. But at the start of last season, at home, they were a really good team. And then during that 4-game winning streak, they were a really good team. The problem is they started off on the road 1-10. They didn't win a road game until they beat Houston in late November. Eric, we've already matched that pace, and it's October 19th.
Yeah, let's go. That's great, yeah.
It's nice having a guy like that. And as far as post-game streams go, I have a system that I should have in the future, which will allow us to have the player cards ready right away, so that when we talk about players, we can switch to them, and we're just going to combine our opening analysis with player cards in case you're familiar with what we've done in the past. So that'll make it a little bit smoother. But Krish right now is on those. But yeah, Justice Winslow was phenomenal tonight. Who you want? I'll let you lead this thing, man. I'll let you lead this thing. Who do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about style of play or anything?
Let's just talk about Hart, since it's kind of along the same lines as Winslow. Just makes plays out there. There was that unfortunate play where he gets pushed down and it leads to them getting a wide open lay-in. That was unfortunate. But yeah, I thought he did a great job. If you're watching the Blazers broadcast, Lamar Hurd mentioned this on the broadcast. He got the ball. I think we're up 2 at the time. He was trying to waste the timeout, but then he saw an opening and took it. He wasn't going to take it, but then he saw the defense was giving him a lane and he got an and one, and that was a huge play in the game. But just having those players you can push the ball ahead to, and you don't have to worry about Dame and Ant getting harassed and trying to bring the ball up the court. So just having those guys where you can give them the ball, let them drive all the way down the hoop, and they score big buckets for you all night long. It's just such an advantage to have, and that's why I never really liked any of this stuff about how we have to trade Hart this season and worrying about his contract next year and all that kind of stuff. We need guys like that on this team. Those guys, him along with Winslow, showed you what having those winning type players do for a roster that has other good players on it. And that's the difference between us looking like we did last year, where we look like we have no energy and our guards are getting smothered and we can't do anything and we can't score. We probably don't even score 100 points in this game. And then looking like we're a team that has a lot of pieces that can do a lot of different things when you have guys like Winslow and Hart who can do multiple things with the ball. And it's just beautiful to watch, actually seeing players be able to do that, grab a rebound and go, create chaos for the defense, and things like that. So I'm really excited about the possibilities you can do with that. So I don't want to see a lot of times this year where the offense gets bogged down when those guys are in the game, because that means they're not moving or not taking advantage of mismatches when we need them to. So it's nice to see them do that tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And we talked about how we needed a dog last year, right? Yeah. The effort level was not good last year. We needed a guy to set the tone from an energy, a hustle, and effort standpoint. We identified Josh Hart early last season as one of those potential guys. Josh Hart was a dog tonight, man. Josh Hart was everywhere on the court, attacking relentlessly, one of the best wing finishers in the league. He had a couple clutch and ones there in the second half. He ended up with 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 for 11 from the field. Didn't shoot a single three, but he didn't need to. He attacked the rim.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, is he's still a threat. It wasn't like he was being left open. If he was being left open, he probably would have shot the ball. But, he's been established as a good enough three-point shooter that you got to guard him out there, and then you just kind of pick your poison. Leave him wide open from 3, or he's going to drive past you.
Right. There weren't any times tonight with Hart that he got a kick-out pass, and I was like, you got to shoot that. But Sharpe's first time touching the ball on offense, he had a kick-out from, I think, Dame. Might have been Ant. I forget which one, because both of them had several nice kick-out passes today. But, kicked it out. Sharpe's wide open. He hesitates. He ends up driving and getting fouled. But if you're open in the NBA and you get a kick out pass off penetration, you pretty much have to shoot that shot. And then a couple possessions later, Grant had one on the other corner where he had a kick out pass and hesitated and didn't shoot. But then next time both of those players caught the ball, they were ready to shoot and shot right away, and it both went in. And that shows why they should be ready and just shoot those if they're open, because both of those guys, I trust. If it's crazy to say that about Sharpe after his first game, but he proved tonight you can trust him to shoot that open jumper. That's a great shot for either him or Grant. And so Hart didn't really have those opportunities tonight, but in the future, if he is open off a kick out, I expect him to shoot those. but there's no reason for him to force those threes if they're not available.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about Shaedon Sharpe next, but first, as far as the donos go, we'll thank them in a few minutes. All right, we just want to analyze the game a little bit. You guys are being extremely supportive. This is the most viewers we've ever had at one time in a post-game stream, right? Am I forgetting a stream? This is probably the most viewers we've had at one time. So hit the like button if you want to support it. Thank you for tuning in with us. Let's take a look at the team stats from tonight, Eric. These are the team stats tonight. The Blazers, 115 points. I need to figure out a way to put percentages up there, but I can read them off of ESPN. The Blazers end up shooting 39% from three. They were 11 for 28. The Kings, more than half their shots were threes. They were 17 for 44, 38.6%, which is still a decent clip for them.
They were 11 for 24 at halftime, so 6 for 20 in the second half. We did a much better job at closing out on the threes, I thought, in the second half.
They had 7 in the second quarter, 10 the rest of the game. So I thought in the first quarter it was decent, got away from us in the second quarter, and then the second half it was better. And that's probably what you're going to see from this team. They're going to have quarters or stretches where, oh no, this looks like the defense last year. And I've been preaching patience with this Portland Trailblazer team. I think it's going to take some time to figure things out on a consistent basis. I was just hoping to see flashes in this game, but I thought they put together 3 solid defensive quarters. The Kings had 32 in the second quarter, 23 in the first, 29 in the third, 24 in the fourth. So solid defensive outing. I mean, we're used to this Blazers team giving up 120 plus points, especially on the road. 108 from a Kings team that was undefeated in preseason, and we were winless against NBA teams in preseason. That's why you can't read too much into preseason. Any other stats on this page jump out to you, Eric?
Got to the free throw line 33 times. You'd love to see that. There was a spot in the first quarter with, I think it ended up being closer to 7, but they got him in the penalty around 5 minutes left in the quarter. And I kept track. We got 10 free throws the last 5 minutes of that quarter, and we barely shot any threes in the first half. So that was really encouraging to see this team be aggressive when they get the other team into foul trouble and get points at the line instead of relying on the three-point shot.
Yeah, and I labeled that as a key to the game. The Kings don't have the best rim protection, and they have guys that you can drive by. And especially a team like them, you knew they were going to play aggressive defensively on the perimeter. You got to be able to get past that and make them pay going downhill, going at the rim, and there were some really good stretches of that. I still think the Blazers could do a better job. This wasn't a perfect game in that regard. There was some times where they got a bit stagnant in this game, but overall, I thought it was good to see, because you're used to this team being super stagnant, not attacking, selling for a lot of step back jumpers and stuff like that, contested jump shots. I like how aggressive they were going downhill.
Yep, and that's fast break points, beating the Kings in fast break points. That's crazy. Even if it's only by 1, still I'll take that all day. If you would have told me that, I thought we would have easily won this game. And points in the paint, we dominated them. Like you said, they don't have a lot of inside scoring. But Fox is a guy who, tonight he shot a lot of pull-ups and threes, but usually he gets into the paint and wreaks havoc. So to see us outscore another team by almost 20 points in the paint was a nice sign as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Eric, it's time.
Wait, just for the future, you don't have rebounds on this.
I don't have rebounds on that? Okay, I'll have to add rebounds. Yeah, I threw it together.
That'll be something to watch all year with our rebounding, our lack of size, if that hurts us on the board. So
yeah, the Blazers had 44 rebounds, 11 of which were offensive. The Kings had 41 rebounds. Eric, they only had 4 offensive boards.
That was nice.
Yeah, so I was worried about that, especially coming into a game against a Sacramento team you knew was going to play hard, young, athletic. Blazers controlled the boards, so props to them.
I like chatting points out. Grant had 8 rebounds tonight. Might be a career high, right?
I was going to say, that's a career high for him. He averaged like 4.5 in 32 minutes per game last year. That's not good for a power forward, guys. You got Josh Hart out there as the starting 3. That's also why I like Josh Hart as the starting 3, because he's a really good rebounder, and he kind of cancels that out. He's like a really good rebounder for a small forward. Grant's below average for a power forward. But Grant rebounded the ball today, so that was definitely a good sign. Okay.
But the other thing about that graphic, too, I just want to mention, 11 turnovers feels like it was low with how sloppy, especially Dame was at points in this game. So, yeah, I'll take that. It felt like it was a lot more. And then 20 assists, it felt like we had a little more than that, too. A lot of fouls that probably, I mean, those don't get counted as assists, so maybe that was the thing. But, yeah, 20 assists to 11 turnovers, I guess, is a terrible ratio.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to do your breakdown next. But first, Eric, give me your Shaedon Sharpe breakdown from today. 16 minutes. Dude didn't play in college. First meaningful game maybe ever. I don't know if he felt like his games in high school were all that meaningful. He did play for a Canada like under 17 team or something like that in the past. But, I mean, that's the thing. We have to scratch... I mean, we have to try and figure out what meaningful games he's ever played. He's never played a college basketball game. He comes in on the road.
5.5 minutes of summer league.
Yeah, he comes in on the road in a stadium that's rocking. Shout out to Kings fans. They were loud tonight.
They were loud, yeah.
Yeah, impressive. Playoff atmosphere.
I was getting a little worried when they were chanting defense and stuff at the end. It felt like it was like a lot of pressure, you know.
Dude, I'm speechless. I'm struggling to find the right words to explain how impressed I am with him, because he goes in, given his backstory, goes into a playoff atmosphere on the road, 3 for 3 from 3, 4 for 6 from the field, has 12 points in 16 minutes, and defensively was solid, at least. You could even say he was good defensively. How impressed were you with him?
Yeah, I mean, there was one time I saw he fell asleep and gave up an open three. Other than that, I felt like you couldn't have asked for more out of someone that was supposed to be, you know, years away from contributing. But this is exactly why you don't have the philosophy, oh, just trade away our draft picks for veterans because we need players that can help us win now, right? Well, Sharpe proved tonight he can help us win now, not even expected to contribute right away. And on top of that, he has a much higher ceiling than anyone we would have traded that 7th pick for, including OG Anunoby or whoever you want to throw in there. He has a higher ceiling and could potentially propel this team to higher levels than any other player we could have traded that pick for. So this is why I was all in on keeping the pick. Now, you know, I of course wanted Benedict Mathurin was someone that I really wanted, but Sharpe has really impressed me with how composed he is out there. I have admitted this several times. I mistook some of his quietness or lack of good answers in interviews for maybe he doesn't have the highest basketball IQ, but I think he's just like a quiet, like doesn't really like talking type of guy. And this guy can absolutely play. He needs to be on the court. He needs to be on the rotation. We need to speed up his development because hitting 2 step-back threes in this type of game, not only that, but we'll show in Brad's breakdown, this guy knows how to cut. He knows how to move off the ball. He knows how to play the game. He knows when to stay in the corner on 3-point shots and when to dive. And it was almost perfect example from him on how to play that role in our offense for that, at least in the first half. And I was just super impressed by that. And I mean, I said, give him the Kobe treatment where he gets force-fed at least 15 minutes a game his rookie year. But I'm thinking maybe give him more than that now based on this tonight. I wanted to see him out there more. And when we went on that big, that bad streak right towards the end of the first half, it was right after we subbed Sharpe out and we brought most of the starters back in. So, it's unfortunately he couldn't get more minutes tonight. But man, it was exciting watching him play, dude.
Dude, I mean, it's gonna be fun this year. Just with with having him and watching his development, man, that's something that I enjoy with the NBA. If anybody's followed us, you guys know that me and Eric are draft nerds, and we always try and scout guys and do our best in that regard, and we like watching college hoop. But the Blazers, they've had some young talent in the past, but they've never had a guy like a Shaedon Sharpe. Maybe since Dame, that I've been as confident in them becoming a star at some point. Okay, and I was worried about him going into today. Just with him being nervous, man. Just given the backstory, given the fact they didn't play a college game, like, how do you prepare for that mentally? You really can't. It's just, some guys just have that confidence about them, and with a quiet guy, it's kind of hard to tell, is he really, like, does he have that killer mentality? Is he, like, does he have supreme confidence? You had to wait until this game to really be able to see that. Preseason isn't a good barrage, or a good barometer, I meant. But in the first preseason game, Eric, he was floating around. He looked nervous in the first preseason game. So I figured, okay, this is going to be his first meaningful NBA game. He's going to look nervous. He might float around a little bit, and he might have a couple really bad mistakes, and it might get to him a little bit mentally. That's what I was worried about. That obviously did not happen at all tonight. The dude comes in, hits a corner three. I love him playing in the corner, by the way. Hits the corner three. He has a baseline cut for a dunk. And then he catches the ball in the corner, gets ran off the three-point line, drives and draws a foul because he jumped to a different stratosphere than Harrison Barnes ever could. Just rose above Harrison Barnes, almost dunked on him, got fouled. So you're talking about 3 separate plays where he's catching the ball in the corner, or he was in the corner to start with, where he was effective. He cut, he knocked down a 3, and he attacked a closeout and got to the rim and got to the free throw line. Him off the ball is going to be a deadly player. The upside, of course, comes with him handling the ball and being an off-the-dribble creator, but I am thoroughly impressed with how he's played off the basketball. I'm thoroughly impressed with his cutting ability, which we had never really seen before. So I'm absolutely thrilled with Shaedon Sharpe as a prospect right now. I'm happy that he's good enough and smart enough, given his lack of experience, to earn minutes right away. Because that's only going to help his development. I never thought it was a situation where he was going to be handed minutes just to develop him. I thought he was going to have to go out there and earn them on a team trying to make some noise this year, and he's done that. So I'm so happy, man. It's just such a different feel to a start of a season, given the disappointments we've had the last 3 years, to not only win the game, but then also to have like Shaedon Sharpe play like this, man, and have this young guy on the team. I'm loving it,
man. And what a valuable thing that'll be for other players who are maybe even veteran players on this team, where watching film tomorrow, Chauncey can be like, look, this rookie is making the right decisions off ball. What is all your problems? Yeah. Like, why aren't you guys doing this? Like, why is this 19-year-old rookie who hasn't played in 2 years showing you guys up, and you guys can't do this? This is what I'm asking for you guys. So, that's awesome to see. And in fact, there was one play where it was when he was in the second half, and he got the ball on the sideline, and he just immediately looked to pass it back up to, I forget if it was Dame or Ant once again, but I was like, no, like, he had a mismatch or something. Like, I want him to be aggressive. Like, don't just like be passive with it when you have the ball. And that's the only thing I'll say is, like, if he can then translate, I mean, you saw the step backs, but like, if you can translate his confidence off ball to being a little more confident, a little bit more protective of the ball, I think he could drive and pull up on just about any player that's guarding him, considering especially early in this season that he won't have like any other team's best defenders guarding him or anything. It's always going to be like their third or fourth best defender. So I think he could take advantage of some of those situations like we saw Hart and Grant and Winslow do tonight. Yep,
absolutely. Do you want to... Is my stream freezing? Hold on. Sorry if my stream is glitching out. Sorry if my stream glitched out there for a second. You want to read off the donos and then we'll hop into your breakdown? Do you have them?
I cannot go back to any of them.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shout out. No, it's fine. I was just trying to get player cards in. Shout out Space Case, $5 donor says, thanks for the consistent content, guys. Super excited for the season. Let's go Blazers. Thank you for the $5 donation. As I said, we read off all donation messages no matter what. Sometimes we will wait 5, 10, 15 minutes as we try and give time to break down the game. So shout out to Space Case for the donor. Shout out Arrowhead, $10 donor says, this is Eugene David. LOL, had to change my name. Not trying to be down, I'm happy, but my goodness, if we would only cut like Sharpe, there were so many easy buckets available. That goes exactly towards your point, Eric. Arrowhead sees the same thing. Yeah, those baseline cuts, when all the attention's given to Dame, given to Ant, those baseline cuts are there. Shout out to Sean Chaw with the $5 donor says, Fox cooked Grant, but I think Grant will do better against players that don't have Fox's speed. Forwards looked good, guards didn't. Opposite day. Yeah, and we'll break down Grant's defense when we get to his player card, and then we'll talk about Dame's performance tonight when we get to his as well. Thank you, Sean Chaw, for the $5 dono. Shout out Dro. What's up, Dro, with the $10 dono? The Drono.
Yes.
Yep. Says, what I appreciate the most about this game tonight is seeing us be down by 10, watching how composed Hart and Winslow played under pressure. Great signs, especially seeing the players communicating on D. Thank you, Dro, for the $10 dono. Yeah, this was a game that the Blazers started off well in, then blew a lead, ended up down 10, and then came back and won. They were tested. Like, this game gave me so much confidence for the season just because of the way it played out and how this team responded to being down in a pressure situation in a packed stadium that was extremely loud tonight. This team was tested mentally and physically tonight, and they passed both tests. Thank you, Dro, for the $10 dono. Also, isn't it nice to get revenge in their place after they beat us on opening night in ours last season?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
They didn't give up like 8 threes to Harrison Barnes either.
I know. He airballed a 3. That was kind of open, man. He was not Harrison Barnes from last year's opening night, that's for sure. Shout out Emerson with the 99. What currency is that, Eric? I don't know.
Is that rubies? I don't know.
Is that a ruby? Thank you, Emerson,
rubies.
for the 99 ruby, I think. Dono says W with a heart.
It might be pesos, too.
Pesos, yeah. Sorry, I don't know your currency sign, but thank you for 99 to something, Emerson. Appreciate you, man. It has the W and a heart icon. All right, let's jump into Brandt's breakdown. We got an intro animation for it. I like it. Hopefully, there's not audio with it. I didn't intend for there to be audio with it, but might have to shorten it up. Anyway, Brandt's breakdown. Eric, is this the first slide of play number 1? I want to make sure. Oh no, it's still automatically switching. Okay, that's what I had to do. I knew I had to do something. So let me switch it to manual, and then we'll be good to go. And we'll break down. You said you had 4.
It's peso, I think.
Peso. Yeah, I need a currency conversion chart next to the screen. Anyway, is this the first slide of the first play?
Yes.
Cool, awesome. All right, what we got here?
All right, so those that had joined us during the preseason breakdowns, I've made it a point, and this is something that I'm going to continue to bring up all season, about when Dame runs back on defense and guards the corner guy. And I just want to give an example of why it's troubling to me, because we can't get away with doing this very often. And I just want to show this because this is a glaring example of why. And so as the first slide, you see that everyone's matched up pretty well. Dame is on, I think that's Paula down in the corner. And Fox is going to then go back up top in the second slide. I'm just going to bring it up on my phone so I don't have to rely on watching the stream. And Fox is going to get a pick from Sabonis in the second slide. So Dame, Paula releases to the other side. And you can see Dame pointing, right? I don't know who he's pointing at, like, expecting to get him. Like, I don't know if he thinks Ant's supposed to take him or what. And as we go to the third slide, it's a close-up of a few seconds later with Dame still pointing to Okpala as he's going by. And then in the fourth slide, It's just a further out picture of that same one. So Dame is, I mean, he's got to help here a little bit, so he should be there. I just don't know why he's thinking someone else is going to take his guy in this situation, because Ant and Hart both have someone that they're connected to. Hart's one pass away, and as you can see right here, Herder, I think that is starting to dive. So Ant has to stay with him, or they need to switch back and forth. And then as we go to the next slide, Fox is going to kick out to Harrison Barnes. And so Ant's going to have to run out to Barnes here. And Barnes is going to shoot this. But in the past, teams have killed us by just making that one extra pass to the corner. So in the final slide, you'll see that Ant is contesting this Harrison Barnes shot. But if he passes to the corner there is no one there to close out on Okpala. So Dame, this whole play, just basically took himself out of the play. And if they would have had the extra pass there, it would have led to a wide open shooter, simply because Dame is still standing there pointing at that guy. Who is he expecting here between Hart, Grant, and Nurk to go out on Okpala if he gets that swing pass? So Dame has got to do a better job of not just passing off your guy in the corner. You have to stay with him, and that's your assignment, to run across the court and contest that shot if they make that pass. So this is something that he's going to have to improve if he's going to be hidden in the corner. He can't make this mistake on top of trying to hide him in the corner.
Yep. And I mean, this situation here with him cutting through, it becomes proper help side position. Like, Dame needs to be a little bit closer to the other side of the court. But how many times do you see weak side, right? The guy on bottom is supposed to help into the paint, help on the roll man, and then, like, the guy in Anthony Simons' position is supposed to get the first pass out. So Dame here, if that's what he's thinking, needs to say, I'm help, or I'm down is another term for it. And then Anthony knows, okay, I got two guys over here. I'm following where the pass goes. I'm taking the first pass out, right? And then the first pass was to Harrison Barnes. Ant got out there. The thing is, the guy helping needs to get the second pass out. So this is Dame. He needs to already be running to the corner so that if the ball gets swung to the corner, he's there on the shot and is at least able to get a good contest. So it doesn't really make sense. That's the thing in this situation, is it does become a normal help side situation for Dame and Ant. But yeah, Dame's just sitting here pointing. It's one of those plays where Dame's pointing as if he's trying to direct traffic and, knows what's going on defense, and he's just standing there.
And I have 2 points to make to the people in chat. First of all, this was not a zone defense. I watched it like 5 times. This was not a zone defense. And there are times where we do play a zone defense, and Dame wouldn't be across on the other side of the court right now. He'd still be on the closer side if this was a zone. And why would he be pointing the whole time? Why would, it doesn't make sense. And for those saying that it's Okpala, though, it's okay, we want him to shoot that. Again, not the point. This is something that happens often with our defense. It happened all the last 3 years with Dame and CJ being hidden off ball on guys in the corner. They just pass off their guy or expect someone else to go rotate out to him. They don't have to go cover it. And it has to, if you're going to be a good defense, you cannot have one of your 5 defenders constantly passing off players and trying to avoid playing defense on possessions. And I feel like this is an example of that. It has nothing to do with the players in particular who are on the floor at the time. It's just an example of what not to do and what we get hurt by against good shooting teams.
Yep. Hopefully we'll have more defensive highlights this year.
Right.
Here we go. I'm loading up play number 2. All right, play number 2. Dame has the ball at half court. Looks like a pick and roll with him and Nurkic in the middle of the floor.
Yes, and this is an example of so you can't see him, but Sharpe is in the bottom left corner right now. And so this is the play where Dame's going to take a pick and roll. You see him get into the middle of the defense, draw the 2 or 3 defenders in the second slide.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see Sharpe, his guy Fox has his back turned in the second slide. And Sharpe, what does he do? What do we talk about all preseason
Yep.
when he
I
has
love it. I love it.
Sharpe sneaks behind him. Fox never even sees him. By the time he does, look, he turns around. He turns the wrong way. Sharpe's already behind him in the third slide. And Dame, with a nice drop pass to him, recognizes him. Fox is completely lost, doesn't even know he's there, and it's a wide open dunk. This is the perfect example of when to cut in that situation, and a really good job of Dame of recognizing it and Sharpe for cutting. And this is something that's open quite often with Dame has those pick and rolls, and it was exciting to see Sharpe get a dunk too. So great play. And that one, it would have been a much tougher play to get that ball in the corner. Fox probably would have reacted in time to contest it, so it would have been a tough shot. I mean, Sharpe proved he can still maybe make it, but this is why cutting is so important to this offense.
Yep, absolutely. And for any of those of you who might be new, something we always preach is if your defender, if you can't see the eyes of your defender, he can't see you.
Mm-hmm.
Sharpe here, he can't see De'Aaron Fox's eyes. De'Aaron Fox can't see him. De'Aaron Fox is going to still think he's in the corner. That's when you cut. The moment you can't see your defender's eyes. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Mm-hmm. This is the type of stuff where, like, in the past, Eric, people would complain about Al-Farouq Aminu and Maurice Harkless not being good enough three-point shooters in order to keep defenses honest, and I'd be sitting there like, these guys just sit in the corner, and all they will ever do when defenses load up on Dame is shoot threes. Evan Turner even would sit there too much. He would cut baseline at times, and so would Mo Harkless, but for the most part, it's like, these guys are sitting in the corner too much. They don't have to shoot threes. They can cut and get layups and get dunks, right? It's not a situation where they have to be great three-point shooters in order to keep defenses honest. And Dame's going to draw a lot of attention, right? Even if Dame struggles, he's 5 for 18 tonight, he's still going to draw a ton of attention. And if guys make the right cuts, the right plays, it might not even result in an assist for Dame. It might be a couple of passes after Dame gives up the ball. But the attention given to Dame can open up things for other guys on this roster. That's why with a guy like Dame, yes, he was 5 for 18 tonight. Still had 20 points. 20 points on 18 shots. Not the best, but not as bad as it would seem. And all the attention given to him by the Sacramento Kings defense made it easier on guys like Josh Hart, on Jeremy Grant, and on this play, it's a bucket for Shaedon Sharpe. It's a dunk. Easiest bucket of his NBA career. Not saying much, but there you go.
Yep. Just beautiful. I love seeing this.
Love it. All right, play number 3. I have to download these from the cloud.
All right, so we've avoided talking about this until now. I thought if we lost this game, it would be on Chauncey Billups, and that is because Jeremy Grant is not good on quick defenders on ball that go through a lot of pick and roll. And the reason for that is he is not good at navigating screens. Yep. Shout out to Reese for being the first one to bring this up back when we were talking about trading for Jeremy Grant like a year ago. He has really good traits on defense as an off-ball defender. We saw him, protect the rim a little bit tonight. If it's an isolation situation with no picks, he's very good, especially against forwards. Once again, it's kind of like Rocco, if you think of it that way, in terms of his on-ball against a quick guard who goes through a lot of screens. You don't want to have him guarding the other team's quickest ball handler in that situation. And I thought it was just confusing to me why we'd start this game with Jeremy Grant guarding Fox. And then in the second half, when everyone could see it wasn't working, we went back to it again at the beginning of the second half, and the Kings kind of broke open the game. And I didn't understand why we didn't have, at least with the starters, Hart on him instead. And this play just shows why. So we have Herter's going to drive here. He has the ball. Right, Hart's guarding him. Mm-hmm. And he's going to pass back in the second slide to Sabonis.
Yep.
And then, as you can see here in the second slide, Jeremy Grant's already like a second late to reacting to this. So he hasn't moved yet, and Fox has already moved. So you can already tell, like, before Sabonis even hands this ball off to Fox, what's going to happen. Grant's going to get picked by Sabonis after he hands it off, and he's going to trail the play, and Fox is going to have an open shot. So as we continue, Grant goes over the top of this screen, and he doesn't do it well, and he gets completely taken out of the play. And then in the next slide, we see how far behind he is from Fox, and he has to come back. And in the last slide, he has to foul him from behind. And so this is just an example of why you don't want Grant there. You want him being in one of these other 4 positions to help when Fox gets around another guy, if he does, or help on a dump off to Sabonis, not involved in the play so he's taking out and we're taking away, at this time, our best help defender in the game. We're taking him away from being able to help defend, and he's trailing the play and being taken out of a play by their best on-ball player. I don't like that strategy of having Grant be that guy who is going to get up in the opposing team's best player face up on the perimeter. I'd much rather have that player be Hart.
Yep, absolutely. And I told you guys in Jeremy Grant's player preview that that's something he struggled with. I actually I spent some time with Reese watching film from the bubble when Jeremy Grant was playing good defense on some possessions that impressed some people. People thought he was phenomenal defensively in the bubble, but the main thing I noticed was he really struggles getting through screens. And when you're going to guard a De'Aaron Fox, you got to be able to get through screens. So it's a situation where you probably want Grant off the ball. You want Josh Hart on De'Aaron Fox is probably the best matchup situation. That's why I was hoping Nas would maybe win the starting small forward job because he's good on the ball, struggles a little bit off the ball. Jeremy Grant's the opposite. I love Jeremy Grant as an off-ball defender, and then I think on the ball against forwards, he's a good defensive player. He's a better defender against forwards than Robert Covington was on the ball. But the problem is he just struggles getting through screens. And this is exactly what I saw in the bubble years ago. He just takes bad angles. You gotta close to his hip and then try and stay attached to his hip. He just kind of goes. Look at where he's at now. He goes straight into the screen.
Yep.
So it doesn't take a good angle.
It's because he reacted late too, and that caused him to. You could just tell he was going to get caught up in that screen. Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yep.
Because he should already recognize that that's the play when Sabonis catches this ball, and he should already be trying to get around that so he can disrupt it or whatever. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I think Grant played great tonight. This is not his fault. This is a coaching game plan type mistake, in my opinion. And for those saying Gary Payton could stop this, yes, that'll be great to have Gary Payton. But when we're talking about the starters playing, Gary Payton probably won't be out there. This will likely be our lineup outside of Eubanks came in really quick in the second half for Nurk. And so, they need to do a better job, I think, of putting the right players in the right positions to succeed. They did switch it later in the game, but just don't have to get put in those situations right off the bat.
Absolutely. Alrighty, let's move on to the fourth and final play of Brant's breakdown. Tie game, 104-104. 3 minutes, 47 seconds left in the game. What you got?
All right, so kind of an underrated thing about tonight is Ant was really good getting through screens, that kind of the opposite, especially off-ball screens because he wasn't on ball a ton. And this is just an example of a play that people might not have noticed, but this is not a play that the Blazers themselves make the last couple of years, and this would have resulted in open three. So we see the floor set up. We have really good positioning right now. Grant's still on Fox, but Hart's on Herter. We got Winslow in there on Sabonis. Dame is guarding Davion Mitchell in the top. That's a good matchup for him. And then we got Ant in the bottom corner I forget who he's guarding in this one. But as we go to the second slide.
He's on Terrence Davis.
Terrence Davis, yeah, that's who it was. So they're going to pass to Sabonis. And once again, we know they're going to run that dribble handoff or that handoff to Fox coming around. And so Grant does a little bit better job. It's still not great, but so he's a little closer to Fox when he gets this ball in the third slide.
Yep.
And then we see as it's developing, what happens is Davis is going to sneak down and he's just going to act like he's standing there, but you can see Huerter starting to come around. What Herter's going to do is come all the way down to this bottom corner, and then when Fox is ready, Davis is going to step in front of Ant, or at least try to, and set a screen on him, and Hart won't be able to get around all of the traffic in time. So as we go to the next slide, we see Ant, while the pass is in the air, he's already recognized that that's the play. Hart stopped thinking Ant was going to go out there, so thankfully he did. And Ant does a great job of getting around the screen in plenty of time. He's right into Herter's face by the time he catches this ball. And Huerter, who had made several big threes on this, does not get an open shot off in a tie game with 3-some minutes left, because Ant does a great job of recognizing the play and getting around that screen quickly.
Dude, there was a couple plays, too, in the first half where I was extremely impressed with the way Anthony Simons got through screens. I've said this. Anthony Simons doesn't have to be a bad defensive player. Mm-hmm. All right? He needs to put in the effort. He needs to learn some of the intricacies of playing defense, like how you get through screens. That's something that Blazer guards have struggled with in the past. Have we ever seen CJ McCollum get through an off-ball screen this well and recognize something that quickly? Probably not. All right? That's why I haven't been completely down on Anthony Simons at least becoming an okay defensive player. But honestly, Eric, you can make the argument that he was a good defensive player tonight. He was flying through screens. He was in the right position. He made some really good rotations. Defensively, Anthony Simons had a good game tonight. And without him having a good defensive game, the Blazers probably don't win this game. Kevin Huerter was on fire. This type of stuff goes underrated, but this is what good defense is, guys. I know you haven't seen it for years, all right? But, we're going to... Hopefully this team shows you what good defense is some more this season, because it's been a while since we've seen a team play some freaking defense. So I love to see this. Ant, I think I think he's going to have a solid defensive season. I think it's going to be a different narrative at the end of the year in regards to his defense than it is right now.
And honestly, these type of plays, when we have the small lineup with Winslow in at center, we have to get out on the perimeter and not give up open threes. So the fact that we recognized it and we're able to shut them down from getting a good shot on this possession, that has to happen in these situations. We cannot give up open threes when we're playing this kind of lineup without a center in there. We should have a switchable lineup. Maybe you could argue you should switch off Sabonis. But the other four, like in this case, it was Hart and Ant. Those two should absolutely be able to switch with Huerter and Davis on this play. So it's good that we actually executed it right, and that's exciting. But if we have this kind of lineup and we give up open threes, something's wrong, because we shouldn't be doing that.
Yep, absolutely. Anyway, that concludes Grant's breakdown. Now, we'll have tweets of the game here in a second, and then we will have player cards, and then we'll look around the NBA, because there's some interesting things that happened today, Eric, that I want to touch upon. But do you have the last three donations starting with Carlton? You want to read those if you have them?
Yeah, Carlton Pagano Jackson, $10 donation. What's good, y'all? Great win. Ant showed a lot of aggression driving tonight. Grant, Hart, and Winslow are dogs. Yeah, thanks for the donation. Carlton, yeah, I agree with all that. Nice to see Ant go to the rim. I mean, missed that first dunk, but it was nice to see him actually have several dunks.
He had two more.
Yeah,
or did I miss one? Did he have three? He had at least two.
I think he might have had three, yeah. So,
I love it.
Yeah. And we ended up getting a three from him out of that. I love that he missed the dunk and then recognized that there was no one guarding him after that, and he was clapping for the ball, and then had the confidence to pull up from three. And dude, he had a lay-in on a fast break too. Like, we had several plays tonight. We talked about the 20 points, fast break points. Several plays where he just pushed the ball up to a guy up the court and he drove and scored. And that's like stuff we don't normally have. It's nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Carlton, for the dono. And then there was 3 more, if you have them. I'm getting graphics ready here.
Yeah. Dickie Chung, welcome to starter level membership. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Isaac Sandstrom, $2 donation. Cheers from Corvegas. Go Blazers, go Beavs.
That's your type of guy right there.
Yeah. Yes, go Beavers.
I'm not a Beavers or a Ducks fan, all right? So
yeah,
I'm a Gonzaga fan.
Yeah, I went to Oregon State, and my daughter is there now. So yep,
runs in the family.
Yeah, right. And then was that it? Hyper Prime $2 donation. I had to donate on the season opener with and it's a Dame emoji. Thank you.
The Dame fire emoji. What's up, Hyper Prime? Good to see you, man. Thanks for donating. And then he also had a member message. Member for 12 months says this game was beautiful towards the end. Thank you, Hyper Prime, for your support. As I said, you can become a channel member. Gonna try and do some more film breakdowns than I did last year for channel members. That's like game footage breakdowns. No promise on how regular they will be, but they will be for channel members only. So you can become a channel member, minimum $2 a month, only $2. Help out the channel, get some perks. Hit that join button below, and yeah. All right. So
and Carter's asking, yeah, there's a join button right underneath.
Join, yeah, join button below. Join button below. We'll also in the future should have merch below streams, so we're that's something that I'm going to work on in the coming weeks, is to get a merch out and be able to put it below streams where you can buy it. So trying to come up with some cool designs and concepts for merch that you guys would like. Anyway, let's do tweets of the game, then we're going to do player questions. First off, follow us on Twitter. There's links in the description box below. Hopefully you like the futuristic background. I'm going with like the, I don't know what it is, but it kind of goes along with the logo animation I got. But shout out Jared McNeil, who says, how fitting that Grant and Hart get us the crunch time points when they have been carrying all game. Yes, I love having forwards that can actually do things with the ball in their hands, that can actually attack the rim. And I'm happy to have Grant and Hart as our starting forwards, taking the load off of Dame, taking the load off of Ant, and making clutch plays down the stretch. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Anton. By the way, use hashtag Blazers Uprise in tweets during the game for a chance to be included in our tweets of the game. Shout out Anton. Says Shaedon right now is playing off talent. Not a bad thing, it was expected, but once he settles in and builds upon it, he can be very, very good. Yeah, it's the talent, but then also it's the IQ is higher than I thought in terms of knowing when to cut, playing defense, all that sort of thing. Yeah, but once he starts to figure out how to really be a threat off the dribble, man, I don't know what his ceiling is. It's enormous. And then shout out Parker. Unless, do you want to say something about that last tweet?
No, just I agree. That's. I mean, I was really impressed with him tonight. To do the things he did in his first game was crazy.
Yep. Jackson says getting dizzy. Yeah, I might dim down the background animation. I just kind of threw this in last second. But yes, we do this every game, Trent. Shout out Parker, who says hashtag Blazers Uprise. Hart and Grant saved the day. Awesome game. Liked what I saw out of everyone. Scoring and shooting a bit low from Ant and Dame, but Shaedon's upside and other bright spots make up for it. I thought Ant was pretty solid tonight. I don't know what he finished on shooting. We're going to look at player cards in a second. But guys picking up the slack 20. From Dame. Yeah, 9 for 20, solid. Dame 5 for 18, not the best.
Great from 3, if I remember right. But
yep, combined 9 for 38, or no, combined 14 for 38, not the best. But anyway, that's tweets of the game. Let's jump into player cards. Let's take a look at Blazers players. We're not starting with Nurkic, and it's still automatic for some reason. So let me fix that. I thought I'd change that. All right. The leading scorer tonight. Hopefully you guys like these player cards, man. I had the idea in my head, but Chris executed the hell out of this. I love it. I love it. In the future, it would be cool to like animate the fire or something. I'm gonna try and do some other things in the future for you guys with this graphic. But shout out to Chris for helping me build it. Jeremy Grant was the leading scorer tonight. Eric, he had 23 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and assists. Was 5 for 11 from the field, 3 for 3 from the three-point line. Knocked down all 3 of his threes. One of them he caught above his head and just shot it. Like, didn't dip it at all. It's the Klay Thompson way of shooting, and it's nice when it goes in.
I like it, man.
But he also got to the line, Eric, 13 times.
I know. That's the most impressive part to me. I liked that we went to him with that matchup, whether it was off the dribble or a couple times in the post on Herter. And he got to the line. Probably should have gone to the line a couple more times because, I think the refs, we got some favorable calls towards the end of this game. But earlier in the game, we were not getting favorable calls. So I think it balanced out. But, you loved his aggression. A couple of those times I didn't know he could get up like that still. Like those putbacks, he almost had 2 insane putback dunks. I finished one of them, missed the other one. But, just great performance from him. Like I said, wasn't necessarily his fault that he was tasked to do something that's not his strength. But other than that, there's not much you can say about him. You obviously want to see better than 5'11" from the field, but I thought he was being aggressive. He didn't really take a lot of bad shots other than a couple like fadeaways at the end of the shot clock, which you pretty much have to shoot in those situations. But all in all, just a really good debut from Jeremy Grant.
I want to look up his game log from last year and see if he ever had a game with 8 rebounds.
I'm sure he did. When you have it's probably
Over the first over October and November, he had one game with more than 7 rebounds. He had 10. Wow. A second game with 8 rebounds. So last year he played in 47 games. Only twice did he have 8 or more rebounds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
I
8
was
rebounds
joking earlier,
nice.
but I guess
he does struggle on the board, but he was good tonight. You love to see it. Let's move on and talk a bit about Ant. All right, we haven't really touched upon him, but he took over this game in the second half, and you love to see it. It was shades of last year, Eric, and I talked about leading into the season, it might take him some time to get adjusted to the whole mental aspect of trying to be the guy he was last year, but then also being that guy next to more talented lineups, with Jeremy Grant here now, with Dame back. But then when he subs back in with the bench unit, it's going to be a different mental approach than it is with the starting unit. And that's something that, might seem like nothing to fans, but it's difficult for a player to have to change their approach in the middle of a game. And it's something that I figured it might take some time for him to get down. But tonight he looked very, very solid. 9 for 22 from the field, 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 for 10 from 3, 1 for 2 from the charity stripe. He took a couple difficult shots in this game, maybe shots he shouldn't have taken. He took a couple shots battling the shot clock, so you can't just look at the efficiency. I thought this was a good game from him, taking over the game down the stretch when Dame was struggling to get shots to go. The Blazers needed somebody to give them a spark offensively, and he stepped up and had a stretch there, knocked down a crazy contested 3, knocked down a couple difficult shots, and I thought had a good game when you combine him taking over the game for a bit there in the second half, and then also what he did on the defensive end.
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about it this way, 3 for 10 sounds bad, but if he goes 4 for 10, so he just makes one more of those threes, it's 40%, and you're just like, that's awesome, right? So,
yep, for all the math nerds out there.
Right,
yep.
Yeah, so I wouldn't worry about the shooting that much. He had several really strong drives. I think he probably should have gone to the free throw line at least one more pair of times, but you like that aggression. You like that he was getting into the paint. You like the dunks because it shows that he has that mentality now where he's going to the rim. There were a couple times in the second half where he kind of defaulted back to the old Ant where he kind of went up and tried to avoid contact and tried to lay it in, and he missed both of those. So I want to see him just attack the rim and go right at it, use his athleticism. That's something he talked about over the summer is trying to improve getting to the line as his next evolution as an offensive player. And I think that's going to be really important. So he needs to get to the line more than 2 times if he's going to be a primary ball handler like that. But overall, I thought he was really good. And then something we haven't really talked about much. There was a stretch, I think it was during that Shaedon Sharpe stretch, where he basically took over the game off the dribble, getting into the paint, and then kicking out to shooters. And that was really key. It didn't really show up in the assist totals with only 2, but overall, he really showed a lot with those kick out passes, in my opinion. And that's going to be the key now that we have shooters and stuff like Sharpe and Grant and things like that, is having those players. We have 4 or 5 players that can get into the paint and kick out to shooters. So it was good to see him both try to look to score a little bit and a good balance between that and also passing.
Yep, absolutely. Damian Lillard, 20 points on 18 shots, 5 for 18 from the field, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 for 8 from the three-point line. His three-point shot didn't fall, but 9 for 9 from the free throw line. At least he got to the charity stripe. 4 turnovers on 8 assists is okay. What'd you see from Dame tonight? His first real legitimate action since the core surgery.
Well, there's another thing we haven't talked about yet. I am kind of worried because in the first quarter he pulled up going for a rebound and was holding the back of his leg, and then the whole rest of the game, running up and down the court, he would reach for his leg and he was like trying to massage it and stuff, and he didn't look like he was moving well, but I felt like he was trying to tough it out because he didn't want to like leave the game with an injury after coming back for his first game. So I'm hoping that's nothing, but it looked like he might have like tweaked a hamstring or something. So he didn't look like he was moving super well. But yeah, I mean, he got a little sloppy with the ball. He got lucky with a kick ball late in this game that he probably should have been a turnover. Had the turnover, I think, the possession before that. It's tough when you're being hounded so much by quick guards, but he's got to be a little better with the ball, in my opinion. It's not really the 4 turnovers. It's just like the way he turns the ball over sometimes with bad passes. We also saw Hart with a bad entry pass to Nurk at the top of the key that got stolen by Herter for a layup towards the end of the game. Those kind of plays are tough. Like the turnovers he had seemed like he could, if he's not playing sloppy, like improve on that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the 8 assists are good to see. Like I said, he had several drives and kickouts. I felt like there was a point in this game where it was right around that Sharpe dunk where he was just lining up. He had a pass to Grant in the corner for a 3, and it was going well. And then like the next 3 or 4 possessions, he took somewhat questionable shots, even for Dame. And so like those kind of situations, I'd like to see him maybe just continue setting up the other players a little more, and maybe not even caring about his shot. And there's going to be games where he doesn't even have to score much this season. So I'd like to see him exploit that a little more and not have to take bad shots. And maybe if he's not getting good looks, trying to incorporate a little bit more set plays. That would be something that the coaching staff has to do. But so like maybe get him like the first play of the second half where we obviously were running a play to get Ant a 3-point shot, maybe like running plays like that for Dame occasionally too, just to get him going at times where he doesn't feel like he has to force up shots. But yeah, I mean, if you would have told me Dame was 5 for 18, 1 for 8 from 3, and we still won this game, I'd take it,
Yeah,
so yeah.
Absolutely. And people will say, oh, he's washed. He looked like he had no burst left. I do think he was a little bit bothered by that play that happened like right at the start of the game, unfortunately. He had a preseason game, I think it was the second game, and it was like the second night of a back-to-back, but he looked quicker than he did tonight. He looked like he had burst, and he had a interview lately where he said, yeah, I know I'm back because I can get wherever I want, whenever I want. Like, it was a situation where I think that might have bothered him slightly, but then also Sacramento was just hounding him, man. They were sending 3 bodies. They played good defense to shut him down. And Dame's had games like this in the past, but they've happened in the middle of the season. This is what I've said in the past too, is like when it happens at the start of the season, everybody freaks out. If it happens in the middle of the season after they've had some good games, earlier in the season, then nobody really thinks twice of it. It's just a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
So this type of game I've seen from Dame before, multiple times earlier in his career, when he was young, when he, late 20s, now he's in his early 30s. So I'm not worried long term. It's still a situation where he draws a ton of defensive attention. He didn't shoot the 3-ball well. If he shoots the 3-ball well, goes 3 for 8 from 3 and is 7 for 18 from the field and has 26 points on 18 shots, like all of a sudden it looks like a solid game, right? Nobody's really worried. So, as I said with preseason and with other things regarding this team, I'm not going to overreact to Dame having a 5 for 18 shooting night. I think that's just silly, too. I think he'll be fine. Hopefully that's not an injury that lingers, the thing he struggled from. But he's not going to talk about that or make that out to be an excuse. But, there's people out there waiting for him to struggle to start this year just to say, see, he's washed. We should trade him, blah, blah, all this type of crap. All right, and just overreact like some people like to do. So I'm not worried about Dame. I think he has a good game next game. I think he has 30 points next game.
Yeah, and the other thing, we'll get to Nurk in a minute, but Dame has that nice pass to Nurk, and he finished one of his few finishes tonight. But after that play, Nurk really struggled, both trying to catch passes and, finishing in this game. So, and then he got pulled right away. Eubanks, he's not as comfortable with in the pick and roll and stuff like that. So it was a lot tougher for him to get any space with the ball as compared to as he normally would with Jusuf Nurkic in the game. So I think that was an adjustment. I think that's what led to him maybe pressing a little bit. He knew Nurk was having a tough time, and he was just trying to finish those plays himself rather than keep putting him in bad positions, I guess, or that he wasn't succeeding in. So that probably had a little bit to do with it, why he tried to push there at that time that I mentioned. But hopefully once Nurk, plays a little better, that Dame will also have a little bit more space out there, because for all the hate Nurk gets, he does do a really good job, one of the best jobs of any player that Dame has ever played with, at getting him a little bit of space off the dribble. And so we need that. We need him back in the lineup and playing if Dame's going to have the best possible season he can.
Yep, absolutely. Let's move on and talk about Josh Hart. We've already spoken a lot about him. 5 assists, 7 boards to go along with his 19 points on just crazy efficient scoring. I mean, you love to see the stat line from Josh Hart, man. This is like the stat line he averaged in Portland when he was playing with a tanky team. Tonight he did it with Dame and Ants and Grant and did it in a game that mattered.
Mm-hmm. And, dude, it's crazy how well he finishes around the hoop, and awesome having a player like that.
Yeah, absolutely. After Rocco of years past. I mean, it's kind of like Norman Powell was good at attacking the rim and finishing as well. Josh Hart provides that, but then Josh Hart, I think, is a better defensive player and a better passer, better ball handler, better all-around player. So that's definitely nice to have. I need to pull up this alert box or something and figure out the donation thing that pops up. But yeah, Josh Hart, good game tonight. Let's move on and talk about we already talked a bit about Shaedon Sharpe, but once again was just very impressed with his defense today. Was very impressed with that baseline cut he had. He attacked a closeout and 3 for 3 from 3. I was wondering, is this going to be a situation where he struggles to shoot threes his rookie year as he gets dialed in from NBA distance, as he kind of struggled in preseason, missed a lot of shots short? Dude, that one he had, where he's ran into the shot and was kind of fading away, if he can do that, if he can be a movement shooter off the ball, running off screens, and do that at a high level, how do you guard him? He doesn't even have to be a crazy ball handler. Because either he's catch and shoot threes coming off of screens, or you try and stay on him, and then he's driving past you and probably dunking on your entire team and your entire family. So, that shot was extremely impressive. I love to see that.
Yep. Just awesome game to see him out there. Not only, you were worried before the game about him maybe not playing. They don't play Keon. They play Sharpe over Keon.
I had a gut feeling they weren't going to play him. I don't know. I was wrong, and I was happy to be wrong.
Yeah, I was shocked too when they put him out there instead of Keon. with how much they've been talking about how well Keon's been doing. So, nice to see him out there. I think, if anything, obviously he's not going to shoot this well every game, but if he continues to play well in the minutes he gets, then hopefully when Gary Payton's back, that he's not the guy they take minutes from.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that sorts itself out. Before we move on to the next player card, shout out Adam McVeigh, member for 8 months, says, just finished work and joined. Haven't seen the game, but yes, lads, the undefeated Blazers, the lid is off. Thank you, Adam McVeigh, member for 8 months. As I said at the start of the stream, this is the first opening night game that the Blazers have won since we started the channel. This is the fourth opening night post-game stream we've done. And we were 0-3 before this, so nice to start off on the right foot, finally. And then shout out Clearly a Bot with a $5 dono and a channel member. Thank you, Clearly a Bot. He says, thanks for the show. Can't wait to see Trendon back and his new graphic locking fools up. Viva la Uprise. Yeah, maybe that'll have to be a running theme this year if Chris wants to somehow spice up the Trendon graphic, which, if you didn't watch us last year, it was an absolute mess at the end of last year. Maybe I'll show you guys at the end of the stream if I still have it. But thank you, Clearly a Bot, for the dono. All right.
Drew, do you think Sharpe can guard elite guards? I don't know if he's ready to do that consistently in the NBA, but he showed tonight he could stay in front of Fox a couple times, and Fox couldn't get by him.
His foot speed's impressive. Yeah. People I didn't understand this about Sharpe during the draft process, is people discounted his defense. And there was a lot of possessions where he's playing in a empty gym in games that don't really mean much, and his motor's he's not really trying that hard, and he looks like he's gonna be a bad defender, yada yada yada. When I scout players, especially they didn't play in college, I'm looking for foot speed. Can he slide his feet? And then also, does he have the athleticism to block shots? Yes. Does he have a long wingspan? Yes. 7-foot wingspan. Does he have the body that is either strong or looks like it will put on strength easily? Yes. He's gotten noticeably stronger in the past year. Strong chest as well, which helps to absorb contact defensively without looking like you're fouling. Lou Dort's a perfect example of that, by the way. He can be a really good defensive player. He's already, I think, for a rookie, he's a good defensive player for a rookie. Rookies normally struggle coming into the league, and this dude was talked about like he was going to be a bad defender for his career, and he's solid as a rookie. So, hopefully it's not just one game where, he looks good, but that's the thing. He can slide his feet, and he has wingspan, and he can block some shots. He has athleticism. It's just like the IQ things. Can he figure that out? And I've been impressed with his IQ so far on both ends of the floor.
Yep. And from here, once you identify that you have the skills to play good defense, it's just about wanting to and doing it consistently, providing that effort, and having that mentality that you want to be a lockdown defender. So that's where I think hopefully should be one of Chauncey's strengths, is giving a guy like this the mentality of doing it on that end. Because, honestly, yes, it's great to have his offensive outburst tonight, but there's probably going to be a lot of nights where we don't necessarily need him to be good on offense, but if he can still make an impact on defense in his minutes, that's what's going to keep him in the rotation.
Yep, absolutely. Dro says, Torrey literally said he was going to be a good defender. I didn't believe him, but he's absolutely right. My batting average, not to pat myself on the back, but my batting average is, maybe I'm having the best 5 months in terms of my batting average on takes, because I'm not right all the time. Definitely not. I was wrong, completely wrong going into last season, but I don't know, man. I just didn't understand why people were critiquing his defense going into the draft. It's like he has all the tools to be a good defensive player. It's just, does he want it? And guys in the NBA are probably going to play harder than guys playing in an empty gym for a high school on an AAU circuit, So that's why I don't worry too much about that type of stuff. Anyway, Justice Winslow had 11 points tonight, Eric. 8 rebounds, 1 steal, 5 for 9 from the field, and 1 for 2 from 3. The 3 rolled in, got a generous roll, but efficient game from him. Had some good defensive possessions there in the fourth quarter. They closed with Justice Winslow on the floor instead of Yusuf Nurkic. They closed with a small ball lineup, and it worked out for them. He was solid tonight. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, just solid Justice Winslow game. Came in, provided provided a spark, played good defense. I loved it. Those couple times where he had Sabonis trying to take him in the post and he held his ground too. I think they're going to see tonight as a bit of a example of why they don't need another backup center. They're gonna go smaller at times. I don't think you can get away with it against a lot of teams.
We haven't even talked about our centers yet.
Yeah, they did tonight. Small ball 5, I think he's pretty good in that role. I don't know if it can work against really good teams, but tonight it did work, and he was great tonight.
Yep, absolutely. Good game from Justice. Yusuf Nurkic had a lot of heat tonight, Eric. Probably deserved. He was not good tonight. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, and assist. 3 for 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Also had 4 turnovers. All of those turnovers were in the first half. Only played 25 minutes in this game. Didn't get into foul trouble, right? Everybody's always, he gets into foul trouble every game. Only 1 foul in 25 minutes, so he didn't foul going against Domantas Sabonis. Defensively, I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I thought he did some things that people overlooked in this game on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. I think in the first half, he was much better than Eubanks on the defensive end. Like, once Eubanks came in, that's coincided with the Sacramento Kings' run in the second quarter. And yes, they hit threes, but the interior defense was also noticeably worse. But then he was sloppy with the ball in the first half. Forced some passes, had an outlet pass that got picked off that was really, really bad, and it was near the end of the half that kind of killed whatever momentum we could have brought into halftime. And then also his finishing the second half, man. He rushed like multiple finishes, and it didn't work out for him. He didn't take his time. He wasn't strong and just solid finishing around the rim. He rushed shots, and it was probably a bad game for him.
That one shot he had in the first half where he was like off the wrong foot and threw it up anyway, and it didn't even come close to getting to the rim. That might have been the worst shot I've ever seen in a basketball game. Like, I don't know what he was doing there. I think he thought he got fouled before that or something. But yeah, it's not a good game for Nurkic. This is not the way we need him to play. We need him to be much more dependable, both catching the ball off passes, taking care of the ball if he wants to be a bigger focal point of running the offense. And he's got to finish some of those shots he did not finish tonight. And, I mean, people will say this is who Nurk is, but, I mean, the numbers don't back that up. He was much better shooting the ball than he was tonight all of last year. So hopefully this was just an outlier game, but unfortunately, and I mean, make no mistake about it, this happens with pretty much every center outside of the elite ones like Jokic and Embiid and players like that, where they're like pretty much every center is inconsistent and have really bad games like this occasionally. You have to take the good with the bad. Hopefully this was just a bad game from Nurkic. But he's got to, against teams that are that small, I know that the tempo was weird and it was fast and things just seemed rushed every play. So that leads into him rushing his shots a lot. And he did have a couple like rim out that, those go down and he's 5 for 9. Is it really that bad of a night, But he's got to take his time, catch the ball, and finish in traffic. But, I mean, here's the deal. We can't trade him until December 15th, so all the people saying we need to get rid of him. We have no backups either, so, like, we have to hope that Nurkic is better. So it's not a case of, oh, you're just going to give him a pass or whatever. No, he was terrible tonight. He needs to be better, but we need him to be better too, because this team will only be good if Yusuf Nurkic plays well and is in the lineup and not getting taken out of the lineup. Props to Chauncey for recognizing that he just did not have it tonight and taking him out though. So, but we don't really have a backup.
He subbed him out with 9 minutes and change in the third quarter.
Yeah.
He played 2.5 minutes. Nurkic was struggling. He subbed him out, subbed in Drew Eubanks. Did Nurkic enter the game after that? He had to have, because he played 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think he did. But
yeah.
He started the fourth quarter.
Yep. I mean, yeah, Nurkic offensively was terrible. Defensively, I thought he was solid. I thought he was there was multiple possessions where I was happy with his defense. So, you take the good with the bad. It's just the sloppiness, the turnovers that he had in the first half. Some of them were just bad. And then just the rushing around the rim. But that's the thing. Nurkic is inconsistent. He has a game like this and people act like this is what he does every game. But, that's the thing. If he had 5 fouls but had a good stat line, people would say, oh, well, he fouls out almost every game and can't stay on the floor. It's always something. He's just inconsistent. He's going to have good games. He's going to have bad games. It's just how it is. Just hope you have more good games than bad games if you're Nurkic. But I mean, if this game happens consistently, if he plays like this consistently, then yeah, once he can be traded, we'll start talking about Jusuf Nurkic trades. But let's not act like this is who Jusuf Nurkic is on a consistent basis.
And honestly, outside of that one play we talked about where he helped on Sharpe that he didn't need to help and it gave up a lay-in or a dunk. There is a reason why Sacramento hardly had any points in the paint in this game. And in the minutes that Nurk played, I guess I would venture to guess that was even less than the percentage of minutes or the ratio of minutes played, because Nurk stopped several Fox drives from happening and turned them. Now, he kicks out to other shooters or whatever, and they might have still scored. But Nurk was absolutely a presence in the paint in the first half.
Without fouling.
Yeah, the second half wasn't. But we need him on defense, and we need him because he's our only real capable big man, in my opinion.
Yep, we subbed him out there in the first half, and all of a sudden they start getting layups around the rim. I don't think that's a coincidence. But let's move on and talk about Drew Eubanks, all right? So, it's a tale of two halves for Drew Eubanks, dude. 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, an assist, 2 fouls, no points, right? But first half, he was terrible. First half, he was had no impact on either end of the floor. And I'm not the biggest Drew Eubanks fan as the backup center. I think he's okay as a third-string center, but as a backup, I'm not the biggest fan of him in his game for a team trying to win games. But the second half, I thought he played solid. He had a couple of big rebounds, had a blocked shot, was just in the right place more often. And I don't know, it just seemed like his energy was better in the second half. It's like he woke up at halftime. I don't really. Yeah. That's not good analysis, but that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just want Eubanks to come in and not mess up or not do anything bad, Like you said, in the second half, I thought it was a lot better. The problem is, he's playing with Winslow and I think he played with Nas for a while in the first half, stuff like that, where other players that are kind of limited on what you can do with them offensively. And if you have a bunch of those players in, this is something that you always talk about. I think it's even worse with Eubanks versus Nurkic, is you can't even use him in the same way you use Nurkic. So what can you do with him on offense other than just have him hang around the basket and set picks? And there's not really much else you can do. So it's just tough because he's fine. He plays hard when he's out there. He does his best. But it's not dynamic enough at any one thing to use it to our advantage, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Watford was out for this game, right? I forget.
Yeah, he's got a hip flexor or something. I don't know.
What's flared back up probably. Watford would have been probably the better option against Rashawn Holmes. Against a quick Sacramento team. So that's what I think they'll do. They'll mix and match depending on their opponent, and they'll play Watford some games and Eubanks other games depending on who they're playing against. I just wish Eubanks was bigger because he's not the most skilled big man. I just wish he was bigger so he at least was a guy where it's okay, you could put him up against Jokic or Embiid, and yeah, those guys are going to score and do things, but at least he's enough of a physical presence to battle against those guys. I don't think Drew Eubanks is that physical presence. There's a couple plays where Sabonis just moved him in this game, and Sabonis isn't one of the biggest centers in the league.
And then you see Winslow, who's 3 inches shorter, like completely play physical. So
It's
in
not
my
just
mind,
height.
does it really hurt us to play Winslow as the backup center? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's going
Well,
to.
that's the
I
thing.
mean,
Like, if Sharp continues to play well, Eric, and then Gary Payton II comes back, like, whose minutes are you taking? Are you taking Winslow's? Nas only played, how many minutes did Nas play tonight? Nas played 10 minutes tonight. Winslow played 26. Nas is a guy that hopefully starts to figure it out and plays more minutes. Whose minutes are going to Gary Payton II when he's healthy? It might end up being that backup center spot, and you slide Winslow up to the backup center spot, you slide Nas up to the backup power forward spot, and then you create some wing minutes for Gary Payton II. That might be the best option, unfortunately.
by the way, someone had a nice suggestion for the player cards is having minutes played on there too, so we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to
yeah. I
in the
agree, I
future.
agree.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I mean I know a lot of our main guys played a lot of minutes, so maybe you can take a few minutes from some of them. But yeah, overall, I agree. They gotta come from somewhere.
Yep. Speaking of Nas, let's talk about Nas. 2 rebounds and assists, a steal. 0 for 2 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 0 for 2 from the free throw line. He just does not look like himself. He's been inconsistent in the past, but he's been better than this. I think he didn't play enough for me to even really talk about him in this postgame show, but hopefully he's able to figure it out. Apparently he had some really good practices lately. It's just you sub in Shaedon Sharpe and he looks good. I feel like that kind of ate into Nasir Little's minutes, and yeah, he's just got to figure it out and hopefully knock down threes. Hopefully it's not a situation where he's in the midst of one of his stretches where he's going to shoot 25% from 3.
Yeah, I think this is something he can get back. But I mean, even when he was like a rookie and didn't know any better, like he always seemed to have confidence in himself and like never really questioned whether he should shoot or put the ball on the floor or do whatever. Like, but you can see him like hesitating a little bit and like he's just like a little slow with the thought process. I think not playing in the off season really hurt that development. So hopefully it's just a matter of getting back into game speed and game reps and he'll be fine. But yeah, unfortunately right now, I don't know how much you can play him until he can get back to that point much more than these 10 minutes or whatever. Like you want to give him a little bit of minutes, I guess, to work that out on the court. But yeah, until he's back to 100%, I don't know if you can warrant giving him minutes over other guys right now.
Yep. Anyway, that wraps up. So, we'll go around the NBA in a second. We do have a couple donos to read off in a second as well. As far as future content goes, I will have final player preview tomorrow. Damian Lillard, I put that off, trying to get stuff ready for the season with the postgame show and whatnot. But I did a whole player preview series this past in the past month or so, previewing players for this season. You can go check that out if you want. But then we'll be live again, another postgame show on Friday. We do postgame shows every single game. And then on Friday, I don't know if you'll join me, Eric, but I plan on, at the very least, joining Suns Valley Podcast. We play the Phoenix Suns. I have a friend named Gabe with the Suns channel, and he does live streams, live during games. He reacts live to games. So I'm going to go watch it with him live on his stream on Friday. And of course, Eric, you're welcome to join as well. So if you don't want to miss that, go subscribe. Suns Valley Podcast. I will post the link in the stream, and you can go and subscribe to his channel so you don't miss, because we play the Suns 3 out of our next 8 games, Eric.
Yeah, isn't that like all for the season too? Like,
yeah, and then we don't play them again. I wish they spread them out.
Yeah.
So I hate that they did that, especially with the. I would have been okay if it was like the Clippers or something, but the Suns, when we're I plan on always joining his streams now for Suns Blazer games. 3 in the next 8, so I will be there for basically almost half this next 8 streams. So go sub if you want to. Shout out to Gabe and Suns Valley Podcast, and then of course we'll have the post game show as usual. Might introduce a couple new things for that stream.
And normally on our second channel we stream every Monday and Thursday, just a separate show, no matter what the thing is. We do a segment where we pick games. But we did that today to preview the game tonight, and also because there were a lot more games than tomorrow. But normally, starting next week, we'll be back to our normal Monday, Thursday times at about 3:30.
Yep. Shout out to BC with the $5 dono. Says, I came into chat late. Is anyone giving respect to Coach Billups? # Rip City. Eric.
Well, this next dono kind of has to do with
okay,
that.
I can read that off, and then I'll toss it to you. Shout out to Colonel Pancakes with the $10 dono. He also has the awesome pancake face head emoji or an avatar picture. Yeah, man cake. Shout out Colonel Pancakes. Says, the underrated player here is Billups, who is not afraid to sub out Nurkic early and to play Sharpe this early. Also, he has clearly made this team defensive-minded. This team seemed to know where to be defensively today. They had some bad defensive performances in the preseason, and I still expect some during the regular season. But guys have said, I think it was Dame that said, there's a real emphasis on knowing exactly where to be in certain situations and really thinking the game defensively at a higher level instead of just like bringing more energy and flying around and that sort of stuff. So, shout out to Chauncey. That's why I said, got to be patient with Chauncey. Can't judge him off of preseason. Give him time to figure things out with this team, and it's off to a good start after this win. What are your thoughts on Chauncey?
Yeah, I mean, outside of that one, no offense to you, Tori, but Scott's service level decision to put Grant on ball on Fox. I thought, other than that, that's kind of Robbie Ray-esque,
Oh, man, why you got to do that to me? It's still too early. It's still October. Man. Wait till November to do. At least we made the playoffs. At least that's off my back. I know what a playoff baseball game looks like as a Mariners fan.
But, you knew it before it even happened, right?
Yeah.
And so, first play tonight, I see Grant is going to be guarding Fox, and it's like, no, what are you thinking? Outside of that, I thought the defense was really good and very promising, and I thought Billups coached a good game, including Colonel Pancakes mentions is taking out players who aren't performing, because we have other players that'll come in and get the job done, and that was proven tonight by Justice Winslow playing 26 minutes. So that's something we don't necessarily have elite players off the bench, but we have good enough players to not have to put up with players who aren't performing or not doing the job on both ends of the court. So when a player's struggling on either offense or defense, hey, man, next man up, put them in there, see what they can do. And might surprise you, guys like Sharpe, if they didn't have that mentality, might not have gotten an opportunity in this game. And then we wouldn't have seen him seemingly seem like he's a valid rotation player moving forward. So I'm all for, playing who deserves to play. And if they're proving it on the court, get them more minutes.
Yep, absolutely. And then do you want to read off that last dono?
From Carter, $20 donation. Thank you, Carter. Blazers W. Eric, what is it going to take for you to walk back your 9-seed prediction? Love the content, guys. And Tori, are you still optimistic about Damian's season defensively? Do you want me to answer first?
No, I'll answer first because I don't want you to be out there on an island with your 9-seed prediction. I did predict them to have an 8-seed. I was at a 7th seed before the preseason. I knocked them down a little bit, right? But I've always said with this team, it has the upside if it figures things out to potentially be a home court advantage team. It's just this team has a wider range of outcomes than a lot of other teams in the league, because either it's going to be probably a team that's terrible defensively, bottom 3 once again, or they'll figure things out and be an average defense and be a really good team because the offense will be good. So that's the thing is it's hard to predict this team going into the season. So yes, I played both sides of it and you played both sides of it, Eric, but it's just kind of the truth. So, I'm not going to let you take that on your own. I predicted them to be an 8 seed.
I mean, I'm fine taking it. So here's the deal. They beat my 11th seeded prediction. So they won a game that they were supposed to win, according to my predictions, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll say the same thing I said with the top 9 teams. I did not feel confident about any of my predictions. I could totally see my 1st seed being the 9th seed and the Blazers being the 3rd seed. And it was just tough to predict. And so, I mean, I knew I was going to take heat for putting the Blazers ninth, but I just couldn't justify the way they looked, putting them over any of the teams above them. I'm happy to be wrong, and I hope I am wrong. So I will walk it back if I'd be happy. I think I've said this all off season. I think our ceiling is about the 4th seed if we play correctly and have a good year. I don't see us missing the play-in. I'd be really surprised, but I think that's like the 10th seed is probably our floor. So I could see anything in between there. So I'm not saying like we're for sure going to be in the play-in or we're for sure not going to be in the play-in. It's just tough to predict those things. And unfortunately, I just couldn't put the Blazers any higher from what I was seeing compared to those other teams.
Yep. Last year, we were higher on the team than they ended up being. I'd rather be wrong this year than last year. All right. I'd rather them be better than I think this year. Shout out to Carter. The second part of that, Tori, are you still optimistic about Dame's season defensively? I didn't think Dame was terrible defensively tonight. I don't think he was good. But that's the thing. Just as long as he's not terrible, I mean, it's you'll kind of take it at this point. I'm hopeful that he can be an okay defender. I'm still hopeful that I can be I'm still hopeful he can be an okay defender. So yeah, this game didn't really change my thought on that at all.
Yeah, like I said during Brandt's breakdown, I still feel like we should challenge him a little more on that end, especially with how many players we can have step up on offense now. We don't really need him to be using all his energy on offense, so I'd like to get out of some of those bad habits of trying to prevent him from playing defense and maybe just get him a tougher assignment and have him take on that challenge and show what he's capable of. But like I said, tonight, I felt like he wasn't moving well after he was grabbing his hamstring. So like, I'm fine with doing it when he's not moving well. So maybe next game, if he's moving well, we can talk about that a little more.
Yep, absolutely. You ready for Around the NBA?
Yeah, let's do it. Fun
All right,
night.
There's 12 games
Picks
today.
against the spread are a mess.
Yeah. So there's 12 games today. We're going to cover them all. I might switch up the graphics for this. I don't really know where to go, but I didn't have time to build a new graphics template for this. So this is what we had last year. We'll probably try and switch it up at some point. But you had a good game with the Cavaliers with Donovan Mitchell taking on the Toronto Raptors. Eric, I'm all aboard the Cavs hype train this season, but they did not take care of business on opening night, losing to Toronto.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Cavs, Garland went out of this game early. I think he got poked in the eye, and he didn't come back into the game. And they still almost won. Donovan Mitchell played really well.
31 points, 9 assists.
But, Raptors are a tough team to beat, especially at home. So, yeah, it wasn't enough to get it done.
Yep. The Raptors are a weird team, man. Every starter played at least 32 minutes. Van Vliet played 39, Anunoby 38, Gary Trent Jr. 37. Siakam had 23 and 11 on 9 for 20. Gary Trent Jr. 19 on 5 for 12 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and got 5 rebounds, which we know is a good number for Gary Trent Jr. Scotty Barnes, one of the best rookies last year, now entering his second season, 15, 7 assists, and 3 boards. You got the Wizards beating the Pacers in a battle of a tanking team versus a team that might be a tanking team at some point, and the team that isn't trying to tank just yet took care of business in this game. The Wizards win 114-107. Bradley Beal, 23.6 assists, 5 boards. Kyle Kuzma, 22 points, 13 rebounds. Will Barton, new acquisition off the bench, 17 points. For the Pacers, Eric, you're one of your favorite two of your favorite guys, right? With Halliburton and Mathurin.
Yep.
I'm a big Halliburton fan as well. He had 26.7 assists, 4 boards on 10 for 18, 3 for 6 from 3. But then Mathurin in his NBA debut, that was one of your guys in the draft, man. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts on him?
Man, he's good. He's already, I think, really good. And I was glad they gave him minutes because they have a ton of guards. Hield had a good game too, so it's going to be hard with Duarte and TJ McConnell and all the guards they have to get the proper amount of time for Halliburton and Mathurin. But in my opinion, they should just get rid of all those guys and clear the way for that backcourt of the future. but yeah, yeah, he's been
Absolutely.
solid all summer league, all preseason. The guy just knows how to play, and I think he's really good.
Yep. Speaking of rookies, you had Jaden Ivey versus Paolo Banchero with the Pistons taking on the Magic. The Pistons took care of business after the Magic were up like 23-8 early on in this game. But as far as this game goes, it's number one overall pick Paolo Banchero playing his first meaningful NBA game. In 35 minutes, he had 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists on 11 for 18 shooting from the field.
And don't forget about Jaden Ivey, too. He had a double-double as well, the youngest player in Pistons history with a double-double.
Jaden Ivey did, or Jalen Duren?
Jalen Duren, sorry.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats. 14 and 10 for Duren. Yep, 22 minutes. He was good tonight.
He was. I watched some of this game because I doubled down on the Magic, and so Duren in the fourth quarter had several huge offensive rebounds, and it was just doing his rim running thing, and yeah, he was tough to stop.
Yep, absolutely.
But Stewart played well too, so yeah, a lot of good performances. But unfortunately, I guess right before the game, they scratched Cole Anthony due to an illness, and so that would have affected my pick, I think. So yeah, fortunately for them. And then the Magic.
Well, I want to give my guy Jalen Suggs a shout out, so don't steal that. But you could say anything else because I'm gonna give my guy some love.
No, so like the spread was 2.5, and I was like, okay, so what is it? What is our sponsor? BetUS.
BetOnline.ag.
BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. The spread was 2.5. So the Magic cut it to 2 several times. They foul. There was a thing that they got a 3-point shot off, missed it. Magic guy gets a rebound, has a wide open putback at the buzzer, misses a bunny, and they lose by 4 instead of 2 if he makes that putback. Even though it wouldn't have mattered for them to win, it would have mattered for the bettors out there. So I was like, yes, and I'm like, no.
Starting off early with the bad beats for you, Eric, man.
Right.
But I gotta give my guy Jalen Suggs a shout out, dude. He struggled last season in his rookie year on opening night tonight. In 25 minutes, had 21 points, 3 assists, and a board on 8 for 11 from the field and 4 for 6 from 3. If he can knock down threes, it opens up the rest of his game, and he's gonna be a problem. Orlando loses tonight. I still think they're a team to watch in the Eastern Conference for a play-in spot. You got Wagner there. Banchero looked great. Suggs, if he takes that next step. Cole Anthony. Wendell Carter Jr. is one of the more underrated bigs in the league. It's just off the bench. They're playing Okiki, Mo Bamba, Caleb Houston. Those guys combined 0 for 11. Did not get any help off the bench.
They started Bamba tonight, I think.
No, Bamba says he came off the bench because they started Wendell Carter Jr. But yeah.
I think they started both of them.
No, Banchero at the 4, Wagner at the 3.
They started Wagner at the 2.
It says they started Terrence Ross and Jalen Suggs.
Okay.
That's what ESPN's telling me. I don't know, man. I'm just going based off ESPN.
I didn't see the beginning of the game, but they said they were going to start the bigger lineup. I don't know.
I would like to see that lineup. That'd be interesting.
And in terms of Suggs, he made some incredibly tough 3-point shots in the third quarter. Had a huge third quarter. I think he had 18 in the third quarter or something like that. But
yeah, awesome to see. The Bulls beat the Heat, Eric. The Bulls could not beat good teams last year. They beat a good team to start the year this season, and they did it without Zach LaVine. I doubled down on the Heat as a 7-point favorite, and that was a bad decision. The Bulls take care of business. DeRozan, I was questioning whether he could follow up last season with a similar season. He says, stop doubting me like you doubted me last season. He went out and had 37 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds on 14 for 22. And also was 2 for 3 from 3. He finally learned how to shoot threes instead of just mid-range.
Because he made 2.
2 out of 3, man? I mean, he shot, a career high last season from 3? Like, it seems like he finally figured it out a little bit, but he's still the mid-range maestro.
Yeah, who's more disappointing, the Heat or the next game we're going to talk about?
Dude, we got some juicy games coming up. Shout out to Ayo Dosunmu, second-year player, 36 minutes, had 17 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists on 7 for 14. For the Heat, Jimmy Butler, 24 points on 11 shots with no 3-point attempts. He had 16 free throw attempts very crazy stat line there. Hero had 23. Strus had 22. The next game, the Pelicans beat the brakes off the Brooklyn Nets, who had a lot of turmoil this past offseason, and it looks like it might transfer over on into the regular season.
Wasn't even close.
Wasn't even a game. Wasn't even a contest. So for the Pelicans, Zion's back, 11 for 22 from the field, 25 points, 9 rebounds in 30 minutes. Ingram, 28 points on 10 for 17, and then CJ McCollum, 21 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds on 7 for 16. That is their big three.
OG says disappointing. I'm glad the Nets lost. Absolutely, yes. I'm saying it's disappointing for two East teams that thought they were going to be near the top in the Nets and the Heat that they did not beat. Well, I mean, the Nets were playing a good team, but their performance was abysmal.
Yep, absolutely. And I forgot to thank this dono when we were on the Magic game, but shout out Caleb Pendergraph, $2 dono, says, caught some of the Magic game. Banchero was amazing. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch this rookie class. And then Colonel Pancakes, $10 dono. Thank you, Colonel Pancakes, says, Little is creating more playing time for Sharpe. Yeah, dude, this rookie class is fun. I've never scouted a rookie class as much as this one, so I'm definitely paying attention to how rookies do. As far as the Nets go, Kevin Durant was good, man. I mean, 32 points, 11 for 21 from the field. Kyrie Irving, 15 points on 6 for 19 shooting, 0 for 6 from 3. Worse than Dame. Only 5 assists for him, so he struggled tonight. And then the bench was abysmal. Shaedon Sharpe, a center, goes 1 for 8 from the field in 23 minutes. Patty Mills was solid, but everybody else really didn't make much of an impact.
I didn't see Ben Simmons. What did he do?
Ben Simmons, 23 minutes, had 4 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 6 personal fouls, 2 for 3 from the field. Yeah, so yep, we'll see if he improves on that. But yeah, the big letdown for the Nets on opening night. The Hawks take care of the Rockets. Wasn't this game a 10-point spread?
It's a push, yep.
It's a push. All right, at least nobody doubled down on it. The Hawks took care of business 117-107. They were led by Trae Young, 23 and 13 assists, and then DeJounte Murray had 20 points and 11 assists.
Actually, we did have a double down.
Did we? Oh, yeah. We already have a double down push.
Jackson.
Jackson pushed. Oh man. But you had 4 guys with over 20 points for the Hawks. DeAndre Hunter just got paid. He had 22 points, 10 for 15 shooting. Maybe making that contract look a little bit better. He got paid more than $20 million a year. And then John Collins had his way with a young Rockets front court.
Another game that the Hawks are up 8 with like 15 seconds left. The coach says not to foul, and someone fouls anyway, and then they hit the 2 free throws. And then the Rockets had like 3 threes to cut it to 7 and win the spread again, and yeah, missed all of them. Yep.
So the Hawks take care of business. I've made all these logos except I never made a yellow Hawks one. Chris bringing out the alternate Hawks colors, which they don't really use anymore, but yeah, it was red on red, so normally I try and contrast them. Let's move on. We still got a few more games to talk about. The Grizzlies barely take care of the Knicks, 115-112. This was a 4-point spread. So lots of really close games in regards to the spread, Eric. The Grizzlies are without Jaren Jackson Jr. right now. They started John Konkar and Santi Aldama. Aldama had 18 points and 11 boards. He looked good in preseason. He could be a factor for the Grizzlies this year. They've done a good job developing some unheralded prospects. Maybe he's the next Desmond Bane. Who knows? But Ja Morant, 34 points, 9 assists, following up his Most Improved Player award from last season.
Yeah, Cam Reddish hit a big 3 at the end of the fourth quarter to send it into overtime. And then Ja Morant had what would have been the game-winning lay-in, but Jalen Brunson took a charge on the play. They had used their challenge already, so they couldn't challenge it to see if it was a charge or not. But Ja made like an incredible acrobatic shot to theoretically win it. That was called off. And then they get the W in overtime, but a little harder than they probably imagined.
Mitchell Robinson only played 13 minutes, had 5 fouls, so Isaiah Hackenstein managed to play 40 minutes, despite probably being worse at fouling than Yusuf Nurkic. He played 40 minutes. That's impressive.
Yeah.
They need to do something with Obi Toppin, though. 13 minutes is not enough for Obi Toppin. He was phenomenal to end last season, but he's stuck behind Julius Randle, who had a decent game, but still.
Toppin's been bothered by an ankle injury the last couple weeks too, so he is not 100% right now. Yeah.
RJ Barrett 3 for 18 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3. That's dismal performance by RJ Barrett.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game.
You got OKC taking on their division rival, our division rivals, if that's even a thing in the NBA, the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves take care of business 115-108. The Thunder were down in this game, came back and made it close. But the Timberwolves, their first game with Rudy Gobert, 23 points, 16 rebounds, 10 for 15 from the field, had what was like barely not a 3-point floater. He had like a 20-foot floater to beat the third quarter buzzer. So Rudy Gobert was feeling good in Minnesota. Karl-Anthony Towns did not have a good game, 2 for 10 from the field for him. But Anthony Edwards struggled too, 4 for 17. So Ant and Cat combined 6 for 27 from the field. But Jalen Noel, good game off the bench. D'Angelo Russell had 20 for the Timberwolves. As far as the Thunder go, 32 from SGA. Nobody else really did anything too notable.
The Thunder actually had a lead in the second half of this game. It was very interesting. But yeah, they won. And then the Hornets game, yeah, it's surprising, but
Hornets 129-102 without LaMelo Ball. Miles Bridges is gone for reasons that most of you probably know of. But Terry Rozier, 24 points on 10 for 19. Gordon Hayward, 20 points. PJ Washington, 17 points. Nick Richards off the bench in 21 minutes had 19 points and 10 rebounds.
Nice.
And then a former Blazer, Eric. Dennis Smith, 21 minutes, 12 points, 5 for 7 from the field. 2 for 2 from 3. Maybe he finally learned how to shoot.
He was balling tonight.
Yep. Rookie watch, Jeremy Sohan, who some people say we should have taken over Shaedon Sharpe, was 2 for 8 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3 with only 4 points. Devin Vassell, 3 for 15. Keldon Johnson had a good game, 20 points, 11 rebounds on over 50% from the field. But yeah, the Spurs are tanking for Wemby.
They were down like almost 40 at one point, I think.
Yeah, absolute blowout. But Eric, speaking of tanking for Wemby, the Utah Jazz... Wait, the Utah Jazz beat the Nuggets by 21. The Nuggets were your projected 1 seed. The Jazz are a team everybody has at the bottom of the West. On opening night, they win by 21. They beat the Nuggets by 21. The Nuggets have Jamal Murray back. They have Michael Porter Jr. back. They have Bruce Brown now. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope started for them and had 2 points in 35 minutes. That's the Lakers' Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for you. But, yeah, what? Did you pay attention to this game? What the hell happened to this game? Because I did not pay attention to this game, and this is already one of probably the most shocking final scores for the rest of the season.
I mean, this is what I was worried about before the game, is the Jazz have players that can get hot and make plays, like guys like Conley and Clarkson, and then they have some decent defensive players like Jared Vanderbilt still, and they didn't trade all those guys, so they're still there. So they're going to have weird games like this, I feel like, where a team just assumes that it's going to be an easy game like the Nuggets seem to do tonight, and just completely underestimated them. And I think that happened to us in the preseason as well. People
were like, we didn't blow out the Jazz, we suck.
Yeah. So, obviously, if you're a Nuggets fan, you're not feeling very good tonight, though.
Yep, Colin Sexton, 20 on 6 for 12. Markkanen, 17 on 6 for 12. Rudy Gay, 16 on 6 for 8. Malik Beasley, 15 points on 5 for 13. Wasn't as efficient. Walker Kessler goes 5 for 5 with 12 points. The rookie, Mike Conley, 13 on 3. Still got some guys there. So, a very impressive win from the Jazz. I don't know how the fans feel about that one because they want their next French giant center named Victor Wembanyama.
I didn't see Agbaji play at all.
Agbaji played in, I think he just played in garbage time. 1 minute in garbage time.
Yeah, I liked him much better in the Cavs before
Same.
they traded for Mitchell, but yeah.
But I wasn't as high on Ogbashi in this past year's draft as other people were. A lot of people had him like lottery talent. I had him in the 20s on my big board. I think he's going to be an okay role player. I just, I don't know. I just wasn't as high. I was higher earlier in the year, and then I soured on him.
I think he's a really good fit on good teams, but I don't like him on a rebuilding team if that's obviously the direction you
But the Jazz were not a right now. Are they a rebuilding team? They will just beat Denver by 21, right? So, I mean, you're not tanking until you're tanking is
maybe
what I would say.
Will Hardy's the next great thing as a coach.
maybe. The Suns get revenge, Eric. 107-105 over the Dallas Mavericks, who knocked them out in Game 7 of the second round on their home court last season. This was a game where Dallas had a 42-26 point lead. They had a 16-point lead early on in this game. The Suns battled back, lock up Dallas during the second half. Luka was phenomenal, 35 points on 10 for 23 from the field. Not super efficient, but still. Christian Wood off the bench, their new acquisition, had 25 points in 24 minutes on 9 for 15 shooting. Those two guys stepped up, but in Dinwiddie, 15 points on 6 for 11. Outside of that, I know Dallas went on a run last year. You just don't have a lot of offensive firepower beyond that. So Luka's carried this team. He's going to have to do it once again. The Suns, I mean, Chris Paul was terrible today. 6 points, 1 for 6 shooting, showing his age maybe, but did have 9 assists. Booker had 28 on 10 for 20. Ayton, 18 points on 8 for 11 from the field. Cam Johnson is now starting, had 15 points. He wants a new contract. Their bench, Damian Lee, 11 points in 20 minutes.
Game winner, too.
Yeah. Wait, he hit the game winner?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I got to go back and watch Gabe's stream from this because Gabe has been hating on Damian Lee. So it's going to be entertaining to go see Gabe's reaction to that. But shout out to the Suns. That's our next opponent. As I said earlier this stream, I'll be over on my friend Gabe's channel, Suns Valley Podcast. Just search it on YouTube. I'll be doing a live reaction to Blazers Suns over on his channel. That's what he does for his Phoenix Suns.
Cannot believe the Mavericks blew that game.
Yep. It's now past midnight, so the bottom ticker has changed to see it updates live. I told you guys. Oh. Well, we really know. Yeah, now it's today's games because I did date now. Yeah. So anyway,
only 2 games, right?
Only 2 games. You got Bucks taking on the 76ers.
And we're going to watch the Lakers in primetime again. Yay.
Yeah, because I'm sure people want to do that. So Lakers taking on the Clippers. Clippers first game of the season. Same thing for the Bucks. Those are the 2 teams that haven't played yet. Anyway, anything else for this first post-game show of the season? Been a successful one. Was a fun game tonight. Was a good win to have. Starting off the season on the right foot. And the Blazers have 5 of their next 6 at home.
I just want to say again, thank you to everyone who tuned in and watched, even if it was just part of the stream. We appreciate you checking us out. And for those that watched the whole stream, thank you again. And welcome to anyone who's new. And if you're ever able to watch this live and you haven't commented in chat, maybe at a time when it's not crazy flowing really fast where we have a tough time keeping up with all of them. But yeah, don't be afraid to say hi in the chat.
Yeah, we still have like 500 viewers right now, which is absolutely crazy for it being midnight over here on the West Coast. We set a record. We peaked at over 1,000 viewers concurrent at one point, Eric. Mm-hmm. Over 1,000 viewers at once. I don't think we've ever gotten close to that on a post-game stream. I think the peak was like 600. So this has been a good day, man. Yeah.
And then there was one more Colonel Pancakes.
Oh, Colonel, thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. Colonel, $10 dono says, who do you see as the Blazers' rival? It's always going to be the Lakers for me, but the Lakers suck this season. Is there anyone that stands out, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I'm old school, so I agree Lakers, even though if you want to talk a rivalry where both sides think of it equally as a rivalry, that's probably not a rival. In recent years, we've gotten destroyed by the Warriors several times in the playoffs. But I think based on the fact that we've had 2 contested matchups in the playoffs recently, I think Denver has become one of our bigger rivals. And also Utah just being a division rival, I think, is a rival as well.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Any good team in the West I view as a rival for the most part. But thank you, Colonel Pancakes, for the $10 dono. Thank you to everyone who donoed. The donations were crazy tonight. Thank you to everyone who supported. I love being able to read off your comments on stream with a donation. Obviously, it's kind of hard when chat's flowing like crazy. But thank you to everybody participating in chat. You guys make this truly interactive and truly fun. I do read chat during streams like these, but obviously we got to talk about the game and provide our analysis. So, I'm not able to read off everything, but I do see everyone that participates in chat, and I appreciate your participation and making this community truly great. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll be doing post-game shows all season long on top of videos. I'm going to try and do more video content during the season this year. Stuff like analytics videos is something that I'm going to try to do this year after every 10 games or so. Mailbags more often where you can ask us a question, that type of stuff. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss those as well. This has been the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by betonline.ag. Once again, if you do check out BetOnline, use promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. That's your promo code. Anyway, Blazers get a win, Eric.
Hyper Prime with the last minute $2 donation.
Beating the buzzer.
Shaedon got the game ball. Apparently they gave it to him after the game. I'll have to go check that out after the
Hopefully
stream.
There's a locker room clip. But yeah, shout out to Shaedon Sharpe. Great NBA debut. It's going to be fun to watch this kid develop, and it's going to be fun to watch this team develop and see what they're able to do as the season rolls on. Once again, Friday, Suns Valley podcast. I'll be live over there during the game and then back here for the post-game show afterwards. So hopefully you're able to catch one of those streams. But anyway, that's a wrap for this first edition of the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your night. The Blazers take care of business. Love to see it, man. Great win on the road in Sacramento. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.